She has one of the top 25 most viewed TED Talks of all time, one of the top 25 most listened to podcasts. She has multiple bestsellers on Amazon's self-help list with millions of books sold. You could drop a couple Benjamins to go see her live in her multinational tour in 2026, and I had never heard of her. In fact, when I brought her book home, I was surprised when my wife said she had listened to a couple of her podcasts. Not that she had listened to a couple of her podcasts, but that she was a she. That could have just been me mixing her up with Tony Robbins in my mind, or just me being a guy. I was at my 81-year-old uncle's house visiting with my mom, and when we were leaving, my uncle handed my mom a copy of The Let Them Theory and told her she should read it. I was intrigued, so I went ahead and bought myself a copy, and here it is. I've read it, and let's discuss. I'm Captain Mike. This is Whiskey and Literature. I talk about whiskey and books, and today it is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, and in small letters, Sawyer Robbins, her daughter. Mel Robbins is an American author, attorney, speaker, and podcast host. Her 2011 TED Talk launched her into the spotlight. Motivational speaking led her to the books, more speaking, and then to her podcast. The Let Them Theory is her bestseller for sure, and this launched her next level. Specs and stats for the book. The Let Them Theory is the #1 book in the world, according to the book's website. In small letters, it does say it is the #1 best-selling book of 2025. And that is very possibly true. It was launched in December of 2024, and it claims to have sold more than 7 million copies. On Amazon, this book has more than 28,000 ratings with an average star of 4.6. On Goodreads, The Let Them Theory has more than 195,000 ratings with an average 4.08 stars. I ordered this 299-page book on Amazon for $15.68, and it joins a long list of other self-help books. I think we're all just kind of looking for a way to do and to be better. Structurally, the book begins with Mel's story in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and an intro into the Let Them Theory and how she says she came up with it. Like, what is exactly the Let Them Theory? And I think, more importantly, let me. How to apply Let Them to your life, and a lot of anecdotes. I think there were some decent chapters. I really enjoyed Overcoming Chronic Comparison, and really well done was the Managing Adult Relationships. However, I was pretty well turned off by the Motivating Other People to Change chapters, though I think the book does finish really strong with that very motivational conclusion. I certainly have some thoughts and feelings about the Let Them Theory book. Overall, I think it's just ancient wisdom, if you will, repackaged for the TikTok generation. It's like Temu philosophy. Viktor Frankl, he is credited with the saying, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Let them do something, a stimulus. Let me choose my response. There were some things in this book that I did really enjoy, some nuggets of goodness. I'm going to read a couple things in here for you, some things that I really enjoyed. And I know it sounds kind of like I'm hating on this book, and I'm not really, kind of. Okay, but in this chapter, shocker, life is stressful. She says, when you let the world around you impact your emotional state and peace of mind, you become a prisoner to these external forces. It is not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Between stimulus and response, you choose how you're going to react. And in that is your growth and your freedom. So I think I like that what she said there. Okay, let them think bad thoughts about you chapter. She says, when you navigate your life trying to predict what people are going to think and say about you, you give your power away. I think that's great to think about, right? Like, if you are doing stuff based on how you think other people are going to react to what you're doing, you give that power to them. keep your power. Keep your power to yourself. Okay, chapter 9 in the book is called Life Isn't Fair. And I think that title is great, and it really says everything. Life isn't fair. We would like it to be, but it's just not. And so that chapter is really well done. The following chapter is how to make comparison your teacher. So I'm going to read a little bit in here. And so Mel and her husband went to a friend's open house. They renovated this beautiful house, and they wanted to show it off to their friends, including Mel and her husband. So they go over there and they wander through this house, and it was apparently a very beautiful house. And Mel felt like what a lot of us would. She felt insane jealousy. She was happy for her friend, but she was also insanely jealous. And she was like, why don't I have that? This chapter again is titled, How to Make Comparison Your Teacher. And this is what she said. I wasn't mad at her. I wasn't even mad at my husband. I was mad at myself because I had given up on my own ambition. I had counted on my husband being successful and providing me with the financial support to have the things I wanted in life. The truth is, your life is your responsibility. If you want financial success, it is your responsibility to create it. If you want a house that has queen bunk beds and a renovated kitchen, it is your responsibility to work for it. I have been avoiding that responsibility for a decade. This experience forced me to look in the mirror and be honest with myself about what I wanted. Jealousy was in fact a message from my future self. Seeing my friend win allowed me to see bigger possibilities for me winning also. So what happened here? Mel and her husband, they go visit a friend. They see this beautiful house. She feels intense jealousy. Then she recognizes she's big enough to say, okay, this is my fault. It's not my friend's fault. I'm happy for her that she won, but I want to win too. And it's my responsibility. So she says that to herself. And then what does she do? This is what I really like. She says, and I kicked the door open and I got to work. I am not special. I just did what I was unwilling to do before. I got consistent, determined, and willing to work for what I wanted. I started putting in the reps. I like that. And I kicked the door open. She just got to work. Not special. I am not special. She put in the reps. And so that chapter I think was really well done, because I think jealousy can just eat us away. It can destroy relationships, and we can be happy for our friends for having whatever it is that they have. There will always be someone who's got a car faster than you, who's got more money in his 401k than you. He's got a bigger house or a more prestigious job or bigger boat or whatever the situation happens to be. There will always be someone like that. And I'm a Teamster at work, and we're in contract negotiations, and we can't help. It's been 4 years now, and we can't help but compare ourselves to our peers. So I was at work recently, and a coworker was complaining, and you know, it's a real thing. It's a real thing right now. But I was like, you know, we're doing okay. Like, we're doing okay. It's like you're at a grocery store, and in the grocery store, there's 5 or 6 lanes, and you're in your lane, and you're got your cart, and you're moving up a little bit. But the problem with this is that the lanes next to you are moving faster than you. That's like my peers. So here's me and my coworkers, and we're in the lane, and the lanes next to us are going faster than our lanes. And that's all my coworkers see. And me too sometimes, quite honestly, no question about it. But I was saying, you know, over here, these lanes are actually moving slower than our lanes even. Like, we're doing okay. But you're comparing yourself, rightfully so, to others, and we'll get there. But that's making you stressed and full of rage and jealousy and anger towards the company and everybody and unpleasant. Teddy Roosevelt, he said, comparison is the thief of joy. And if you've been in my sphere of influence in my life for a long time, you've heard me say comparison is the thief of joy many, many times. I actually heard that Viktor Frankl quote a very long time ago about between stimulus and response when I was a teenager. And I've said it my entire life. And I did repackage it for myself as a teenager because it was kind of too long for a teenager. And I said, between stimulus and response, man has the freedom to choose. And that's kind of the same thing, just not as well put as Viktor Frankl did. But I think that these are sayings that I've had, and comparison is a thief of joy, and that will absolutely ruin who you want to be in your life. So watch out. I think that is a big one. Okay, the next one here, page 202 in the book. This is the people only change when they feel like it chapter. You must let adults be adults. Let them. Acceptance of another person as they are is the foundation of a healthy and loving relationship. When someone feels that you accept them as they are, they feel safe with you. Okay, I think that's not even going to really go in. That's pretty well said. And continuing on with that thought, it's about helping someone heal or change or be better. The more you rescue, the more they sink chapter. People only heal when they are ready. And if they haven't, it's because they aren't ready. When someone you love is going through an internal struggle, they will not get better for you, their kids, or their family. They have to want to get better for themselves. You may not understand it. You may think you would act differently if you were in their same situation. None of that matters. All of your opinions are judgments. And your judgment of the other person and what you think they should do is part of the problem, because it translates to pressure. People will change. We see that in our life. You see that in your life. You can't change someone. You can't logic someone to your beliefs. It's very, very difficult, and that's been proven time and time and time again. Okay, and the last one from the book, very short one here. 254. Let them show you who they are chapter. Your job is to let people reveal who they are and how they truly feel about you, and accept it. And by the way, this is true at every stage of a relationship. I think that's so true. People will tell you by their words, and especially their actions, how they feel about you. Be aware. When I was reading this book, I just wrote down some thoughts and feelings that I had as I was reading through it, and that's where I base most of the things that I've talked about here in this. I did enjoy reading the book, but there were some things that I didn't really enjoy. First of all, I think the book is fairly repetitive. There were times that I read them to Mrs. Captain. I was like, gosh dang it, I just read a chapter, and the very next chapter was like the first chapter. It's just, they just repackaged the words a little bit. And I think the motivating other people to change chapter should be instead titled manipulating other people to change. And I know that sounds a bit harsh, but as I was reading that, I was thinking how I would feel if I was like, this person's using the ABC method on me. And again, maybe that's a flaw that I have, and perhaps I should just own it. Maybe it's just me being a dude. I don't know. But I read that and I felt kind of uncomfortable. In fact, I did a review of a book called The 48 Laws of Power a few months ago, and that seemed almost taken right from that, in the sense that I felt like that book was very manipulative, like it was designed to do that, to have power over other people. And I know this can come from a loving place, but to me, I just felt like I would just not appreciate that if I knew someone was trying to manipulate, motivate me. And, you know, I like anecdotes, but I feel like this book was just chock full of anecdotes. And I was thinking, why would that be? And I think it's because Mel, she is not a therapist, a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a philosopher. So she doesn't have these experiences to lean on. Now, she did use quite a few stories in here from other therapists, acquaintances, friends, or other peers of hers, but she didn't use any of those experiences that she had had because she hadn't been a therapist. I feel like overall it was like fluffy and ethereal, like there was no substance to it. I think it's kind of shiny and it's bright and it tastes good like a candy bar, but there's no real substance, and overall, I think there's just no meat to it. I think you should read Viktor Frankl. You should read some Dostoevsky books. You should read some books on Buddhism. You should just go to your local used or new bookstore and just look through the philosophy shelf. And there I think you'll find the real stuff. Okay, I'm going to go way off track here. Just follow me. In The Wheel of Time, Book 1, The Eye of the World, Egwene and Perrin are with the Tinkers and Elias. And they're traveling together for safety for a little bit. And then they decide one day it's time for them to separate. And as they're doing that, and Perrin and Egwene are walking away, Perrin asks Egwene, why did you spend so much time with Isla? She was the Tinker Band's leader's wife. He's like, why did you spend so much time with her alone? And Egwene said, she was telling me how to be a woman. Perrin, he laughed and he just said, like, we're just men. No one tells us how to be men. We just are. And Egwene looks at him and says, that's probably why you make such a bad job of it. And I thought about that when I was thinking about self-help books. And I think there's a whole market for these. Because again, I think we want to be and do better. And yeah, perhaps millions of copies sold and millions of podcasts listened to say that maybe, just maybe, I'm wrong. But I don't think so. I think she's just tiptoeing in the steps of giants. And perhaps this book is nothing but a lost leader like a Costco chicken, designed to drive you to the podcast. Honestly, I don't know. But either way, I'm not going to be tuning in. I'm going to stick with the professionals. Well, my guys, I know that sounded pretty harsh, and I didn't really mean to be, but I just, there's just so many better books out there to read than this one. And on that note, if you enjoyed the video, like it, it's free. Subscribe to see more of my content. Again, I talk about whiskey and books, but for now, my friends, you know what to do. I hope you're reading something good, drinking something great, and wearing a damn hat. Cheers.